Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
So, sister, I waited 7.5 years before I became a mom. I waited 8 years until I became a chiropractor. I invested the last 2 years of weekly date nights to make my marriage better, to create the marriage that I truly desire, that I truly have now. I first had an idea that there was something inside of me, some type of a message, which I actually didn't even know the idea yet, 5 years ago. See, there's something to be said about patience. And it's interesting, I had someone actually reach out to me recently and said, hey, I love your podcast. I would love for you to talk about patience. And when people often ask me those things, I will take those suggestions to heart for sure. But often it's kind of like, I just kind of riff on what is happening in my life right now. That is actually the most real, that's the most relevant thing for me to talk about and really teach you a lesson from that. So when she said that to me, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'm thinking there's no way I'm doing that. What was interesting was in the next couple days up to a week, I had numerous lessons in patience, either in things that clients were saying to me or were coming up in my own life. And so here we go. Let's talk about patience. Shit takes time. We're so impatient these days for stuff to happen. I see this with my clients sometimes that, it's like, man, I've been doing this date night thing for a month. Like, what the hell? Why isn't he coming around, right? Or those, particularly rampant in business. Oh my God, is it ever rampant in business? I've been putting out a podcast for 2 months now, and why aren't I getting more downloads? Or I put out these ads for a program I created, and why isn't anybody buying it? It takes fucking time. It takes time to build a community, to create relationships, to figure stuff out. It takes time. And most people are not willing to invest the time that it takes. They're not willing to fall down their ass. They're not willing to be like, fuck, I don't know what I'm doing. I thought I had figured it out. Now it seems like all the rules have changed. They're unwilling to put in the sweat, the hard work, the frustration, the late nights, all of that stuff. Things take time. And my experience has been in my life, what's been true for me is that often it's the things that matter most in our life that actually require the most investment in time. Give you some context for this. Marriage, okay? This year, as I record this podcast, my husband and I will have been married for 17 years in a couple months. We've been together for 25 by the end of this year. Crazy. We've been together for almost a quarter of a century. Holy shit. No, we didn't meet when we were babies. I'm a couple years away from 50. This is my hubby. Actually, I'm a little bit older. I'm a year and a half older than him. Marriage. When we first started back to date nights 2 years ago, it was weird. It was awkward. We were we loved each other. We were really good buds. We'd, watch crappy TV or Netflix when our little guy went to bed, and or actually our little guy at the time, Tyson, and we didn't connect. It didn't connect. The intimacy that we had was very challenged over the years. When we spent 7.5 years trying to conceive, you might go, oh, that was a lot of times having sex. That must have been fun. No, if you've ever gone through infertility yourself, you know anyone who has, that's a bullshit comment. It's not fun. Sex becomes stressful because it's all done with a purpose. Create a baby, which is not happening. Failed pregnancy tests. Fertility shit, test procedures that do not work. It just almost became a thing where it's sex was no longer fun. Sex was something that had a charge to it, and not in a good way of oh God, are we going to do this again and again not get pregnant? So that part of a relationship was still there. It just wasn't where I would really like it to be, or even, I bet you if I had Ed next to me, he would probably say where he would like it to be. And we just kind of resound that was the fact. Coupled with the fact, too, that my husband, Ed, has Crohn's. And so he was diagnosed, let me see, how many years ago was it now? It's crazy, 7 years, I think it was 7 years ago. Had emergency surgery when our youngest was just 7 months old. Because so he's been through a lot of stuff with his health that, of course, creates, a challenge when it comes to intimacy. He just feels like shit a lot of days still with Crohn's, right? But yet, it's taken time and patience for us to really, create, rebuild, reconnect. I don't want to say like rebuild, reconnect, because like honestly, where we are now, almost 25 years together, is better than when we first met. And it's like when you first meet, right? Like you can't keep your hands off each other, like it's just, there's that kind of that passion, that newness to everything that you can't really recreate. Like it's just, things are new, right? Very easy in a relationship and marriage for things to become stale, comfortable, right? Roommates. We were married to each other. We were roommates, not really husband and wife, and definitely not really lovers all that often. Patience. It took 2 years. It probably took us weekly date nights, I'd say a month or two, until we kind of started to get a little bit of a groove with it. Like it felt really awkward at first because we hadn't had that time. We'd be like, oh, what's happening with Tyson? And let's talk about business. And, it really took some time to where now it is an absolute must. Like it's crazy. I'm looking at, so date nights for us, Friday nights, except for if one of us is traveling or we're out of town, both of us. And, there's a lot of traveling that's going on right now with myself, mostly with my husband, Ed. So we're figuring out days in the week to make it happen, arranging sitters, booking dinner reservations. That's what we love to do when we go out on date nights and connect. So we can talk, have good food, and wine, coffee. But I was looking into close before we go to our family vacation on Maui, and my husband's away like the beginning of that week, like Sunday, gets back on Wednesday, and then we leave for Maui on Friday. And I'm looking at that going, oh my God, we're not going to have a date night that week. Like, this is not okay. And I'm probably going to actually, Ed will be home soon. He's just coming back from traveling today as I record this. And I'm basically going to be like, okay, where's that babysitting service again that you said you found out about some stuff in Maui? Because, like, we're going to schedule 1 or 2. Most likely 2 date nights. And it takes time. So it took time, sister, for us to get back to this. Allowed us to be patient. Allowed us in times when we didn't really feel like it. I mean, it sounds funny, right? But it's like, I don't feel like going on a date night. Like, we're tired. I'm like, God, I'm kind of like put on, kind of dress up a little bit and put some effort in. And, we do it. Like, it is what one of my earlier coaches used to say, a double yellow line. Meaning, like, you don't cross a double yellow line, right, when you're driving. It's the same thing, like date nights weekly happen. It takes time. It will take time for you to get your relationship to what you want. It'll take time for your business to grow. It'll take time for you to really start to get strong and get energy back and, get lean, like all those things. Like it takes time. So here's your more tip for today's sister. What area of your life of the 4 more pillars, and those are marriage, business/work, body, and family. Which one are you lacking patience in right now? That you wanted and think that stuff should have happened yesterday, a month ago. And oh shit, it's taken more time. So identify which area. Is it with marriage? Is it with business and work? Is it with your body? Is it with family? And then the second piece of this is, what is one action step you can take today that will move you closer towards what you want, but that perhaps too will just allow you, actually, you know what, scrap that. This is what you do for number 2. So after you've identified where that area is of the 4 more pillars, then the second part is I want you to journal a page and saying, I need to be more patient about what I want because, and see what comes up with that. Now listen, sister, as I record this podcast, I'm a day away from a big announcement about an opportunity to connect with me live in June 2017 here in beautiful Victoria, BC for a very exciting 1-day event called Women Wanting More Live. And tickets have already been released to a group that I have, which is called the Sisterhood, which, by the way, if you want to connect with a community of women that are like you, that want to create better within their marriage, their business, their body, and their family. They want accountability. Powerful group. Holy shit, the stuff happening in this group, excuse me, is like unreal. Like incredible results. So that's over at drkarenosborne.com/sisterhood. But you need to make sure that you're on the email list because tickets are released to the sisterhood first. And then, excuse me. Oh my goodness. Getting through a little bit of immune system challenge right now. So they will be released to the rest of everybody else. That's you on the newsletter. That's everyone else on Facebook on Monday, March the 27th at 5 p.m. PST. Okay, and there's early bird pricing. And I got to tell you, like, it is ridiculously inexpensive. I'm break even, if not losing money on this event, because I know the power of it. I know what is possible in this. And so that will be over at drkarenosborne.com. And I want you to enter your name and email. Now listen, because this episode comes out like the Monday morning, March 27th, I can't give you the website for you to go and get your ticket yet. I can't. Sisterhood gets first dibs. It's privileges of being inside the sisterhood. So what you could do, if you're listening to this first thing Monday morning, actually, I'm sorry, this is actually coming out today, Sunday. Fuck that, because I'm an episode behind here. If you head over then to drkarenosborne.com/sisterhood, you can actually opt in for a 7-day free trial of the sisterhood. I know you're going to want to stay, but this will actually allow you to get in, and then you can get one of the early bird tickets. The sisterhood gets them first. There's only so many, and right now there's just 31 tickets that are left at early bird price. Like, this thing's going to sell out fast. It's going to sell out fast. And I would love to connect with you face to face, eyeball to eyeball, sister to sister on Saturday, June 10th, 2017. So, drkarenosborne.com/sisterhood. To get in the sisterhood, get your 7-day free trial, and you'll get a chance to get those early bird tickets right away. Or you can wait until Monday, March 27th at 5 p.m. PST, and I will be sending it out to the list and the link for you to grab your tickets then. So I will talk to the next episode, sister. A life of more. It's just one step away from me doing the fucking work every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborne.com/newsletter.